What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Impactful Living Podcast.
Where it's all about impacting the masses.
Yes, and today we are going to be talking about two is better than one when it comes to achieving goals in a marriage. So, we're in a season right now where we are praying big, audacious prayers, big goals, right? And when you're in a marriage, it's nice to have shared goals together, right? We have
Most definitely.
personal goals, but we also have shared goals because at that way, it helps build up the relationship, cultivate that.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, anything that has a vision or have a goal, you know what the relationship is working towards. Versus if you're in a marriage, you're in a business, you're doing anything, you don't have any goals, you're just going, you don't know where you're going, where you're heading. Imagine if you always hear examples, right? When a ship leaves the harbor, they know exactly where they're going,
Yeah.
right? Versus if the ship leaves, where is it going? It's not just going out in the sea and not coming back, right? It has a destination. So for a marriage, it's like, all right, what's the destination? What's the vision for our marriage, right? And we have those written down, which we did in the beginning of our marriage. But those are good tools to look back and say, all right, this is the vision. And can vision change? Can goals change? Goals do change, because as we set goals, we accomplish goals. So now we have new goals.
Correct. But I want everybody out here to also plan something with your spouse, right? It's either you're getting ready to get a new house, right? So figure out what that shared goal is. What is that house going to look like? How much do you want to pay for this house? If you want to start a business with your spouse because you don't want to work that 9 to 5, you guys want to be, entrepreneurs. What does that look like? What does that business look like? What is the plan for that business? You have to have a plan, like he said. Or if you want to travel the world, sell your house, quit your job, and travel the world. How does that look for you?
Yeah.
So you have to have goals when getting into a relationship. I just feel like if you're in a relationship, you have no goals together, you guys are just separate. What is the unity looking like?
I wouldn't know. I would know, because that's not part of what my marriage looks like, right? So that's a good thing, and in a sense where we already have a vision. We have the vision statement. We have goals that we sit down and talk about on a daily probably basis. And I'm not kidding. Like every night before bed we're talking about something, sometimes to the point where I'm sleeping and I'm just saying right? But we're consistently talking about our goals and what we want for ourselves, and we're not being selfish by saying, hey, this is what our marriage is, the marriage goals, and that's it. No, she has her own goals.
Yep.
I have my own goals, and we support each other in it. We have goals for our kids. We have to make sure that we're on the same level as far as our kids as well. So there's different things when it comes to marriage, because there's a lot of goals that's out there, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we have for ourselves. We have vision.
Categories.
Before you met me, I'm pretty sure you have something that you want to accomplish for yourself, and not because you met me that means you're supposed to give up that, right? Because you have kids doesn't mean that you need to give up everything for your kids. Now, do you have to give up some things when you have kids? Absolutely. Not gonna say it happens, right? There's gonna be some kind of sacrifices, some things that you want to get done in the future, but you might have to put it off because, the time, the kids, certain things get in the way of that.
Well,
But health, that could be too.
yeah,
So
but I think a lot of this comes with just having effective communication together when you're deciding to plan out what your goals are. There are steps that need to be done. You need to speak about this. Planning a goal together is not easy by any means, especially like if you're wanting to build a house or buy a house and you guys have to save from scratch. That's hard because sometimes in a relationship, there's always, not always, sometimes in a relationship, there's usually a spender, somebody who spends more than they save. And when you're constantly out here spending and the other person is like diligently working towards a goal, that can hurt your relationship, because if you say you have a shared vision, you got to be willing to put in the sacrifice necessary. You got to willing to stop eating out, stop doing your nails as often, doing your hair and shopping all the time, and putting yourself in credit card debts, because when you do that, you're not giving your relationship a chance to flourish, because again, if building a house is what you want, do the necessary things that's needed. If you're wanting to start a business and you know you need a certain amount of capital, then you need to structure that. How much do we need to save? We need to talk about these things constantly in our relationship.
You know the crazy thing, when we were about to build our first house, right? I remember like we barely wanted to do anything because we were saving for the house.
Sacrifice.
So every money that we get, we was putting away, right? I wasn't even eating out at work. Crazy enough, like you would hear this in college, but even when I was at my job, I was bringing those cup noodles, right? Those ramen noodles, and I was eating ramen noodles at work, right? Versus going out, and the guys will go out to eat. They're going across the street or whatnot. They're spending $10 minimum, $15 minimum for lunch. I wasn't doing that because I had a goal in place, right? And because we were communicating and we know what we want, we said, yo, I know that I wasn't going to be spending at that time. I wasn't going to go crazy with it. And the simplest thing is buying lunch every day can cost. Imagine if you go to work.
Or Starbucks coffee.
All that stuff, it costs.
Yeah.
And those simple things add up. So because I knew that, I'm like, yo, I would rather, sometimes I would drive or not necessarily drive, but at that point I would just be like, yo, you know what? I'm bringing food to work.
Yeah. So I want you guys to like communicate with each other, talk about it, and hold that person accountable just as well. Because if you're out here saving all your money and you're doing what you're needing, your spouse isn't, let them know. Tell them how you feel, because you don't want to bottle up all of that. You know, I wouldn't call it hatred, but all of that resentment, right? Because you couldn't get the house that you wanted. You couldn't go into this business venture that you wanted to because you didn't have the necessary capital. So make sure that you guys are effectively communicating with each other, you know. But the next one I would say is dividing responsibilities. So when you are coming up with a shared vision, you have to know your partner's strength and weakness, right? And I have strengths, he has weakness, and vice versa. And we know, yeah, you do.
I have weakness.
We all do, guys. Let's not be that type.
No. I'm messing around. I'm messing around, but for real, I have a weakness.
Yes, we all have that, you know? And so I know what my strengths are when it comes to the relationship. My husband is very analytical. He's a numbers guy. You know what I mean? So everything is about the numbers to him. It doesn't matter. Me, I'm a visionary. I'm like, I want this. And he's like, be realistic, set realistic goals. You know, things of that nature. You got to know your strength and your weaknesses.
Yin and yang type of stuff. Because when you look at it, it's like, when if I'm supposed to take action on something, I'll take a little bit less time than it's you. You'll be like, all right, let's go.
I'm not that type of person to sit and think, if I know it, I want it, I go get it.
But can that be a downfall as well? Yes.
But that's why you balance. You see what I'm saying? Your partner should balance you out. Does this partner tell you no sometimes or tell you yes? You can't get a yes every single time. You know what I mean? You guys have a shared vision that you're trying to accomplish. So like I said, those roles and responsibilities need to be established in the beginning. So if you know, okay, you're the saver, all right, you know what? You keep track. You do the budget for this particular project, because you know I'm not a money person. So you keep the budget. Or
and the thing is it's not even you don't even have to pertain it to money, but it's just a responsibility.
But like, for example, I'm more into the tech stuff, right? On social media. So I'll be more likely to say, babe, let me help you with that. Let me do that with you. You know what I mean? And share those responsibilities to take off your plate, because I know that I might be better than it. So you know you better than your partner. Tell them, speak up, be like, listen, I know I'm better than this, so let me take over this role. And they should be receptive to, you know, be okay with that.
Yeah, it's like your strong points. So it's like, and we're talking about simple stuff. Some people, it could be as simple as, listen, you're not good at cleaning. So and that's not what you do. Dishes is not what you do. So you might have your spouse wash dishes. It could be as simple as that. It could be taking out the trash. I know.
Yeah,
I don't.
But that's not part of the goal Listen, we're talking about goals. We're talking about business goals. We're talking about financial goals. Like, I get
I'm
that
ta-
part.
I'm talking about keeping a healthy relationship regardless. You might be tired one day and be like, yo, not one day you ever took the trash out, and you griping and complaining is like, yo, but because it's your responsibility, because you know that, all right, the person I'm with don't do that, and you already know that,
Yeah.
then you
And you
won't.
spoke about that and you laid that
Then
foundation. It wasn't just
it
put
won't.
upon you.
Right, it won't be anything that you're not expecting. Versus, yo, you come home and then you see trash in the house for 2-3 days that's still been in there. It smells, and you be like, yo, what's going on here? Right. So it's just responsibilities.
Yeah. Creating a balance.
There you
Right.
go. Yin yang.
Yin yang twins.
There
Hey.
you go. There you go.
No, but another one that I would suggest for you guys is accountability and support. Like I said earlier, keeping that person accountable for their portion, making sure that they get what they need to get done, but also celebrating those wins together. I'm not saying if you're trying to save for something and you got to save the whole amount, you can't do nothing. No. Say, you know what, when we get to this point, let's take a little bit. Let's celebrate together because you still need to enjoy life, together when you are trying to accomplish a goal. You can't completely sacrifice like everything. You're not doing nothing for years. No, it might take you a little longer depending on, how big and audacious that prayer is that you're wanting to accomplish. But you need to celebrate those wins. And I don't care how small or little they are, it's needed.
Big audacious prayers.
That's my thing right now. That's my life right now.
Big audacious prayers. I mean, the support have to be there, because if you're working your butt off for a goal, especially if you meet your spouse and be like, yo, this is what I want to accomplish, and you're working your butt off, and then the person is not supporting you, then that could be detrimental too.
But the
Right?
encouragement, when you see that person doing good things, and this is something that I consciously do, is when I see you accomplish something, I'm over the moon. I'll be more excited than he is,
Yeah,
right? I
most
get
of the
over the
times, yes.
moon because I don't need nobody else giving him the praises. The praises need to come from inside your home first.
Yeah.
That person needs to know, like, yo, I know my wife or my husband is about to boost me up. I know that, regardless if you think, it's so small, you want that person to acknowledge you and your efforts and your hard work
Yeah,
that you've accomplished.
it's like you acknowledge that you see them working.
Correct.
Because a lot of people is not gonna see it. A lot of people on the outside don't see it. They just see the results. So they're seeing the results and be like, yo, this person didn't work their ass off, but they don't know the tired nights,
Yup.
all the stuff that you had to go through. But the person that's inside the home get to see that. So by them seeing that, of course, the encouragement should come from, or the support should come from inside the house first.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, hey, babe, you know what? I see what you're doing, and I'm really proud of you. And that sounds
That does a lot for me. I don't know about you guys. Comment below. Let us know. Do you like that? But for me, I like that encouragement. That helps me work harder. That helps me stay focused on the goal. That was a big, that house, the first house that we built, that was a big goal. Huge.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you saw me stop shopping, stop doing things,
stop doing nails,
stop doing all of it. I had to learn to do my own hair. I had to learn to do it all, right? But I was so focused on that, and you saw that. And it made me say, you know what? I'm not spending a dime. We saving everything. And we did it together, So check off those check marks. Acknowledge that you guys are doing it in your relationship. So I would say another one is just being flexible, because goals are going to change. Things are going to adjust.
Absolutely.
And you have to be willing to just go with the flow sometimes. You're going to have a destination, but it may not be the path that you anticipated. Because at the end of the day, God is in control, and you may have some bumps and valleys to go through to get there. But you got to be willing to adapt and be flexible, because especially if you have children and, let's say you have certain things like right now, we got things to do to accomplish today.
Like a lot of things, But sometimes you're wondering, like, all right, what can, just like you said, flexibility. even the other day, like, with the event at school for Geo, and I had to give that up, but good enough that the person canceled, right? And then I was able to be there with them. But sometimes you have to make that sacrifice, in a sense, or being flexible, to where if something does come up that you have to do, then you could adapt to it.
Yeah, change is gonna happen. It's not. It's part of life, and I'm okay with that. I just know that we have a goal together, and that makes the relationship just worthwhile. Even though we know we're gonna go through different, tunnels to get there, but I just know that I'm willing to take that ride with you, right?
Sure. But, hey, she got me blushing. She got me blushing. She got me blushing. But yeah, it's just being able to say, you know what, things have changed, situations have changed. This is not what we expected.
Yeah.
We didn't put this, as far as we didn't expect that this is supposed to happen, but it happened anyway.
You talk about it and you move
Talk
past
about it.
and you create a new plan.
Yep.
Right? And so I always believe two is better than one. You can reach your goals faster together than separately. And when you are in a marriage, you are one, right? We took that covenant. We are one. So I don't see us as two separate. Yes, we're individuals, but I consider us as one unit. And you should for your marriage just as well. And again, these are things that we have learned over the years, being together for all these years, that has been working successfully for us. So that's why I say we come and we do these podcasts, and we do these videos on things that are working for us. Take advice from people that are doing it. Take advice from people that are happy and been together a long time. Okay, so be conscious of who you're taking your advice from. That's all I got to say on that.
Be conscious of who you're taking your advice from. So it's just, I am grateful.
Yes.
I am grateful and I am thankful that I have you for my wife.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. And I love the direction that we're going in our marriage. I love the vision that we have. And we sit down and we discuss what these goals are. And I pray that everybody on here that is watching is impacted by this video today.
Yeah. It's just, just like we said, you have to do certain things for your marriage to flourish, no matter what. When it's two of you, things will change, but you have to support each other. You have to communicate with each other. You have to set goals with each other. Have a vision for your marriage, have a vision for yourself, know what your vision for your wife or your husband is going to be. So on that ride for them, not just for your marriage, but for them, how can you support them as well while they're taking the ride, while they're trying to accomplish their dreams, their goals? Because if they want to do something that you can't help them with, but it's something that they have to go through, right? How can you support them while they're going through it? And those are the things that you have to sit down and say, all right, when you get together, what's the goal? What's the vision? What do we want out of life? Like, what would make us happy? What do we see for our kids? Mm-hmm. What do we see when our kids are gone? Like, how you want life to be? Like, what kind of house you want to live in? Like, those are stuff that you have to think about and say, all right, let me sit down, because it's not just me. I might like a modern type of house, but my wife might not like that. My wife might like a country type of look or a country type of feel. So how can you come together and mix together so both people are happy? Because if one sacrifice and they've been sacrificing the whole marriage, then it's going to come to a point where there's resentment building up.
Absolutely. So what I want to do is encourage you guys as married couples to get a devotional. We have the Renew and Restore, a 90-day devotional of hope and healing that you can do as a couple together. Also journal, right? It's so important to write down everything that you want to accomplish. All of this is in the Amazon storefront. So you can click the link below or in my profile and you can get your copy today. But again, thank you guys so much for coming on and supporting Impactful Living Podcast. Comment below and let us know what your thoughts are and some of the topics as newly married people that you may want us to talk about.
All right, guys. See you on the next one.
All right.